Ep14! How you guys doing? I feel that in my bones. Hey, we have a great show for you guys tonight. David Wilson from True False Film Festival is here. That's a big deal. We also have the music of 9. A number. She's a number. And we have a great title sponsor, OTC. Check out this video. All right, I'm here with Christy. Christy.
Hi. Okay. Okay. Are you talking to me?
OTC, you have a dream, we have a plan.
I don't know. You didn't ask me any questions, so.
That's the whole. You don't win any citizenship awards doing that. I said citizen and it came out citizen. Let's do things I've noticed.
These things I've noticed. These things I've noticed. Yeah.
Yeah.
These things I've noticed. These things I've noticed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Here we go. Things I've noticed. Things I've observed. Here we are. I've noticed that wool socks are great for when you want to feel like you're being swallowed by a python muppet. I've noticed that the band Mentally Stable Clown Posse is far less entertaining than the original. Very stable. I've noticed that I just saw a commercial for gluten-free dog food, which is kind of redundant. That's how all gluten-free food tastes. It's true. I've noticed that someday we'll look back and wonder how we survived before bleep blorps. It's like it's a term from the future that we don't. I've noticed that my version of a Tupperware party is when I finish the tub of sliced ham. And finally, I've noticed that a good way to confuse a group of middle school kids is to try to get them to all start chanting, "Down with peer pressure, down with peer pressure, everybody, down with..." That's things I've noticed.
These things I've noticed. These things I've noticed. Yeah.
There's a lot of news out there, but not all of it is necessary. This is the Unnecessary News Network.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Houghton.
And I'm Sarah Jenkins, and this is the Unnecessary News. First off, consumer advocates say that Americans should consider staying away from romaine lettuce after a potential link to E. coli. Now, this study was underwritten by the National Coalition of Toddlers, whose official statement was, "Gnocchi."
Sears announced it will be closing 100 more stores this spring. "Oh no," said Ricky on his way to buy a dress shirt, washing machine, beddings, get a family portrait, and have his tires rotated.
In international news, Iceland has made it illegal for employers to pay women less than men for doing the same work. Yeah. That's right. Finally, somebody has busted through that ice ceiling. Woo!
Speaking of ice, recently a vodka bottle was stolen, valued at $1.3 million in Denmark. Many people wonder why it was so valuable. It featured gold, diamonds, as well as inside a check for $1.28 million.
Police do not have a suspect yet in this case. Completely unrelated. Oh my God, Cosmos are so good. It was worth it. A Florida woman who was riding her horse on the highway was arrested for DWI after her blood alcohol level was twice the legal limit. Now, there were just way too many jokes to make about this story, so it's time for a horse riding while drunk joke off. First off, police were suspicious when the woman was unable to answer several very basic equestrians.
When the police approached the woman, they asked if she had anything to drink, and she said, "Nay."
However, she was also quoted as saying, "Hey!" It's for horses.
The majority of Americans don't believe it's right to ride your horse while drunk, according to a recent Gallup poll.
It's also just inconsiderate to other drivers. You aren't the centaur of the universe. The end.
Last fall, a local Pizza Hut employee staved off an armed robbery by grabbing a nearby gun and shooting at the intruder. This is true in what he described as a Wild West shootout. Here to silently reenact that shootout is the man himself, William Hotop. There he is, William Hotop. That's him, that's actually him.
That was the kind of dramatic television we like around here. Whew. In lighter news, it's time for our new segment, Unnecessary Mad Libs. Now, Jeff, I'm going to need your help on this one.
Okay.
A little bit, if you don't mind. Okay, so first of all, I need a person.
Betty White.
Okay. A social network.
Twitter.
A noun.
Purse.
Okay. And then a country.
Argentina.
All right. Let's see how this goes. Donald Trump blasted Betty White on Twitter for saying he had a bigger purse and threatened to use it on Argentina. See, what we're trying to do here, since we know our show can't really keep up with political news and there is no way to predict what the president's going to do next, we'll just wait and see if that's true when this airs in 3 weeks.
An experiment found that children were able to work hard on boring tasks if they pretended like they were Batman. Meanwhile, while I'm at work, I just pretend like I'm not on Facebook.
I am working in an Excel spreadsheet.
I was like, is Batman here? Oh, it's good. A new feature will allow listeners to skip to the good parts of romance audiobooks. Plenty of jokes we can't tell there. But you can now, we have a feature where you can skip to the end of the mystery hour as well, to the good part, which is the end. I messed up my own punchline. And I'm gonna reclaim it. We're not gonna stop. I'm gonna just do that again. You like it. Okay. You can now skip to the good part of the mystery hour, which our audience likes to call the credits. That was worth it.
For the first time in U.S. history, more than 90% of the U.S. population has completed high school, yet only 10% of the Rickies.
finally, tonight, a Portland-bound flight was canceled after a rat got on the plane while passengers were boarding. Now, the rat eventually made it to Portland, where he now lives happily as a graphic designer and eats lots of artisanal cheese. That's the news. Thank you. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
That comedy bit brought to you by BRS CPAs and Advisors. Set design and construction brought to you by Elamus, Digital Quill Studio, and Skinny Theatrical Design and Fabrication.
Guest booking provided by Gig Salad.
Additional sponsorship provided by Big Whiskey, official American restaurant and bar of the Mystery Hour. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, we have a great guest tonight. We also have a great guest sponsor. Papow! It's the History Museum on the Square. As they used to say, it's the cat's pajamas. Our guest tonight is the co-founder of the True False Film Festival, one of the best documentary film festivals in the world. It's right up the street in Columbia. Please put your hands together for David Wilson. David. How are you, David?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Thanks for coming.
Of course, yeah. It's not like I have like 300 documentaries to watch this weekend, so you know,
right.
it's cool. It's cool to be down here. Yeah, thanks for having me.
So for people that don't know, what's your quick pitch for what True False is?
True False is a festival that celebrates all that is new in nonfiction film, but it's not just film anymore. We have live music. There's live music on stage before every single screening, and we're also building a sort of like what we call site sympathetic. It's a fancy word for you. Art installations all around the footprint of the festival.
Yeah.
So we have visual arts, we have music, we have film. One kind of extended weekend. Now it's kind of bursting to 4 days up in Columbia Mo.
And it's the first weekend of March.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's I've gone to it for several years, and I feel like I'm an evangelist for it. I'm always like, do you guys know this is here?
We rely on that. We need you to out there, kind of, you know.
Well, it's certainly grown in that time. Not saying I did it.
No, it's all you. It's all you.
It's definitely grown so much in that time. And what I love about it, I don't know if this is the feedback that you get, is I can describe to people that there are great films, but what I have a hard time really encapsulating is just like the culture of it, that it's fun and weird, and like you interact with people like in a way that you don't often otherwise, right?
Yeah, it built a real micro community. I mean, we love that Columbia gets super into it, but the festival itself is its own community, and every director's there. So there's a Q&A after every single screening. But it also builds just this vibe, right? That's like, you know, you stand in line and someone in front of you turns to you and says, hey, what have you seen? And you start talking, and, you know, and that person could be, you know, someone from your hometown. It could be someone from New York or LA. It could be a director themselves. It really just depends. And so there's that whole feeling of people who are getting together, which I have to say is crazy, because when we started the fest, people were like we started the fest, and literally like year one, we went to like the Convention and Visitors Bureau, right? And you're like, we want to do a film festival. And they're like, great, we need a film festival. And we're like, we want to do a documentary film festival. And they're like, but there'll be actors too. And we're like, well, not so many actors really, you know? And people, it took a little while for people to kind of get into it. But now like Columbia is this like crazy documentary like hub. And you know, and directors come in, they're always freaked out, right? Because like they'll be walking down the street and someone will be like, oh my gosh, I love your work, you know, but have you seen this uranium film? Because it's really similar to yours. And they're like, where am I? You know, what am I doing? So it's great. It really has built a very, very cool community of people who love nonfiction films, who love what they can tell us about the world, the way they take us to other places, the way they drop us into other people's lives. We're a festival that really celebrates craft. You know, we talk about, we're not topic driven. We don't program films because we're like, this is really important and you should know about this topic. We look for great movies. And we think great movies, all great movies, whether they're fiction or nonfiction or whatever, have kind of the same things in common, right? They tell great stories, they have great characters, they have lots of explosions, so that's what we're really for.
Jerry Bruckheimer documentary.
That's right. That's right.
Now we have a little promo clip.
Cool. Yeah.
Right. Should we show it?
Yeah. Let's do
show
it.
Whether the weather be far, or whether the weather be near, whether the weather be cloudy, or whether the weather be clear, we'll weather the weather, whatever the weather. True False is almost here.
So I want to say.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I could have said this. I feel like we have a tradition, and these commercials, they go on our website, they air on local TV in Columbia, but like we have really, really obscure promos for the fest, and this is actually not the most obscure promo we've run.
Right.
So I feel like it actually more or less tells us what the fest is. Every year we have an artistic theme for the fest.
Yeah.
And this year's theme is weather, weather. So
okay.
Weather, and
Sure.
then weather.
Yeah.
And so from that grows all kinds of stuff, not the films themselves, but all the art, all the posters, stuff like that. So that's kind of where it inspired this commercial. And the bumpers we show, the little shorts we show before each film at the festival will be like 10 times weirder than this. So we're really pushing people into some like very weird places.
But I love that about it. I love, I don't know, I feel like often normalcy is too valued. And I love weird, just kind of be weird, like, I don't know, when you're a kid.
People embrace it, and like, every year, like, I'll just get, some people will really respond to that year's theme, some people won't.
Yeah.
For me, it keeps me really energized. Like, I've like now researched like 300 like weather idioms from all over the world. Like different cultures have these different idioms, and it's like red sky in the morning, sailors take warning, and mackerel skies,
Right.
and like if a cat turns around 3 times and cries, and like there's so many of these things, and they're kind of amazing. And like for me, like they tell us about the world, right? How we, the idea. I'll go really weird here for a minute because I know we have all the time in the world. The whole idea of weather, there was no word just for weather until actually pretty recently.
Okay.
The only words were like for bad weather. Like that was the only, you could only sort of define, no one talked about good weather. The weather was just sort of like whatever was coming, and it was going to be bad because it was going to be a storm or something like that. And it's only actually, and if you think about it, like think about like the last like 100 years. 100 years ago, we couldn't tell what the weather was in Kansas City right now, right? Like you guys get your weather probably from like Tulsa, right? It blows up from like Oklahoma. So you had no idea 100 years ago what was coming, and now we all like look at our phones and we know that like that's so radically different in terms of our understanding of the world. So that's what we're celebrating.
Let me cap this off.
Okay.
When we go to commercial.
Yeah.
Is what I love about you and the festival is just diving into curiosity.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, we're very curious.
You dive into curiosity in these commercials. I love that promo there.
Guest travel and accommodations provided by Hotel Vandervoort.
Systematic Savings Bank, official bank of the Mystery Hour. Tonight's musical guest brought to you by Bear Village. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, we have a great musical guest. Her name is not letters, it's a number. Please give it up for 9.
I smoke my cigarettes in threes. Oh, come lie down with me, cry out for me, love. Inside and out for me, I'm finding my peace, but I don't know love. I'm available, thought I was made for you. Come face to face with you and open up them golden gates for you, just to lose you again. Oh darling, but we're still friends. I'm available, face to face with you and open up them golden gates for you just to lose you again. Oh, darling, but we're still friends. I could be the one, but you're not here. I could fall in love, darling, darling, but you're not here. I could be the one, darling, darling, but you're not here. We could be making love, darling, darling, why aren't you here? 'Cause I'm available, thought I was made for you. Come face to face with you and open up them golden gates for you just to lose you again. Oh, darling, but we're still friends. I'm available, thought I was made for you. Come face to face with you, open up them golden gates for you just to lose you again. Oh, darling, we'll always be friends. Hello, daddy, hello, love. Call me your chocolate-covered cherry bomb. Oh, open me up. Come lie down with me. Cry out for me, lover.
That was awesome. That was so wonderful.
Thank you.
That's so good.
Thank you so much.
How about that, you guys? Wow. That's our show tonight. We will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.